organization that offers a scientific assessment of where you are in your DevOps journey, with the main goal of helping you prioritize what's the uh, one or two things that your organization needs to accomplish to become a high performing organization.
Okay. So, and you had actually a in-night talk. When was it? Yesterday, I think.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, we had there was 10 speakers last night.
Okay.
And what do you know about Ignite Talks?
So, well, I know that they are very short talks, right? You have to be very fast. You pick a topic and you try to make it very interesting in what, 5 minutes?
That's exactly
and
right.
you have like 20 slides to go through, and you need to rush through and keep the conversation very engaging, right?
Very much so. And so the slides auto advance every 15 seconds. Right. And so it sort of forces you to be very succinct in your messaging and build a nice story arc within 5 minutes. But I found it insanely challenging compared to
it is,
right?
Yep.
Having that control of your own clicker as you're talking through and doing your talk,
right?
Versus it just auto advancing and you holding a mic.
So what was your topic?
I call it "Why So Angry, Sue?" because people ask me all the time, like, "Why are you so angry?" And one, I think I have one of those voices, especially when I'm excited, that I sound very angry and it sounds like I'm shouting at you when I'm actually not.
Okay.
But sometimes I'm actually really angry. And it's really about my journey as a woman in tech, starting back in the year 2000. I did my first internship in 98. And how that has sort of transformed me to, one, hate public speaking, and then two, really tackle the topic of women in tech, but in a way that is a bit more from my experience, so you can understand and maybe empathize like some of the things that contributed to a very challenging environment just to be part of an open source community.
So my next question is really, so what are some of those challenges that you really face? Because I know the open source community can be tough.
Absolutely, it can be.
Some communities don't necessarily have like rules, or I mean like ethical rules or how behavioral rules, right?
Yes.
And code of conducts, and so.
See, you remember, Yolande.
Oh, yes,
you remember code of conducts. I feel like have been an amazing enabler to actually make it safe and for people of color or people of diverse background,
right.
And whatever gender you decide to identify with, to actually attend. Because I've been to conferences where there's like blatant harassment. You report it to the conference organizer, and their first reaction is, well, it's not illegal, so are you going to call the police?
Right.
Or like they want to talk more about the repercussions versus let's talk about it from a systemic perspective. And I know a lot of my friends who are in tech that are women will not attend a conference if it does not have a code of conduct.
Right.
So
do you have answers? Do you have ways of? I have suggestions, but
I'd love to hear yours. Tell me.
So some of the things that we've done. So in the Java, so I work on the Java community, and some of the things we've done is like to create, for example, a group. So making sure that there is not just one women developer that goes to a conference, but more than one. So at least if something happens, then they're not alone, right? Because that's
Absolutely.
very important. But do you have?
Yeah, from a safety perspective, also, I mean, we should send as many people who want to attend conferences as possible, in my viewpoint. And I just know a lot of what I've been asking open source communities to do, which has not been accepted really widely, but it's more of the idea of the thought exercise of what if any woman that decided to go to a conference can enter for free.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there's interesting sponsorship opportunities, and also like just what would happen. And it's become a very interesting dialogue of the reaction of it. But if you want to up your numbers, like let's just drop the barriers. Maybe that's not the right barrier to drop, but let's talk about that.
Yes, no, this is an interesting idea. I think O'Reilly has been doing also a good job. Like, for example, it's important also to make sure that there are like lunches where only women attend, for example, or they reserve like tables for women to have those discussions. So they get to know each other, and then they grow their network. They're more comfortable. They attend more sessions together. They'll be more comfortable attending also like parties at night.
Yep.
Because often, if you a woman alone, then maybe you don't want to go to an open event where people have alcohol. We know immediately what happens.
Yep.
Right.
I think that's completely
Yep.
fair. And those are things that people forget about. And
Right.
it's common sense to you. It's common sense to me because we've lived it. And we
Right.
know when things start going pear-shaped quite quickly
Right.
and ways to combat that. But I feel like to have just an open dialogue about that is step one, and maybe not find all of the solutions because it's a complicated issue.
Right.
But I love the way that we're just bringing a lot of different things and seeing what actually works.
Right.
With the awesome goal of inclusion and diversity.
And also including men, right? Because
Yeah.
I mean, often is like, and some men sometimes they look like they're arrogant to us, so they drink a beer and then they say like the inappropriate things, and it's also like to call them because sometimes they don't even realize, right? They think this is funny, or like depending on what the culture is, right? There is a level of comfort. I mean, we always know that if we are a little bit too open, then we open like we feel guilty because we open the wrong door and the wrong comments, right? But I think it's also like for us to be, I mean, to just say no, this was not appropriate, and and
Yep.
I think this is a whole discussion.
It's definitely, I think that's right. And like, I'd love to have conferences where you could just be yourself. You
Yep.
don't have to worry about editing any of who you are from a personality perspective because you're worried that someone is going to take that as an open door for a sexual advance.
Right.
Like, that's the nightmare, right?
This
And
is
so
a
you
nightmare.
start not being yourself,
Right.
or like, but we've got to get to a place where you can be yourself and not worry about such a thing. And I feel like dialogues like this, conversations like this, help sort of tackle a really complicated problem. So.
And I think also, like the rest of the community doesn't really realize that it's a barrier for us to have a bigger network, right? Because we are not comfortable, like breaking into a group where there are only men, for example, in a party, right? I mean, are you? Do you go to do the entire room where you're going to talk to anybody?
Yeah,
I'm not always comfortable doing that.
I am
right?
not either.
Right.
I am not either, and there are people that are sometimes introverts, kind of thing. I'm definitely not an introvert, as you
Yep.
could tell.
Yeah.
But you do. There's a moment of pause where it can be dangerous, and we will. I just can't wait to the day where it's not, where that
not
isn't
good.
the reality anymore. And I hopefully we can get more people on board to understand that there are some things going on that will sort of as a barrier to be included.
Yeah.
Like networking events. Like, of course you want to network with your peers. You want to
Yes.
meet other developers that are working on Java, or like who are like super excited about JVMs.
Right.
Those people exist, and
Yep.
but we've got to figure out a way. I think we will.
I think so.
Yeah.
So, any other advice from your experience, like on what people can do, or
think-
you in research? I mean,
Yeah.
how is it in the research environment? I mean, is it easier?
I think that every industry right now, within every subsection, is taking a closer look on systemic issues that women have either, unfortunately, have been processed through, or have not been treated the way that we would want our employees to be treated. And I think there's a great awakening that's happening currently. My advice is like, talk about your story. I feel like us older, like I can speak for myself, but me as an older
forget that word. I
Like,
don't accept that. I'm not
people
old.
that have been in this industry for a while, instead of talking about some of the things that they face, they wear it as a badge of honor.
Mhm.
And I don't necessarily think that that is healthy. I'd love to talk more about that. But I'd love for us to talk about all of the things that have happened and get it out in the air. And to get people to realize that it wasn't like this isolated incident, but pretty much every woman that I have talked to has a conference horror story or has a work drinking horror story, or there's always a story that they are maybe embarrassed or ashamed about talking, but let's make it safe to just put it out there so we know that it's actually happening. And then let's just talk constructively about ways that we can make the place better for people to enjoy conferences like this and to network. And I mean, this is a great learning experience overall, but how can you learn when you're in a constant state of worrying about and being afraid, right?
Right.
Like, how do we get you out of that mindset? And I would love to sort of work on that and figure that out.
Cool. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yes, that was a wonderful conversation. Thank you.